Hello everyone, Michael Kelly here, and I want to talk to you about the new range of books from the Apophis Club, the Draconian Grimoires. Already had a word about these a few weeks ago, but 5 books are now available in the series. Another one is ready and will be published before the end of this month. And the one beyond that is being written. And this, of course, is the advantage when you were beginning to pull upon the whole pool of talent that we have within the club now. Um, Many of these books will be written by people other than myself, but they've all come through the Apophis Club training. They are all initiates of the highest caliber. And this means that we can put out a very wide range of practical, pragmatic, results magic books very quickly. I'll be writing one or two, but as I say, a lot of them will be by other people. Um, we'll have a look at the ones that are currently available in the range in just a moment. But first, I want to say a couple of things about these titles. The first thing you'll notice if you've clicked on any of the links for them are these books are not cheap. That is absolutely deliberate because the knowledge in these books is not cheap. It's not your it's not the nincompoop drivel that you often find in um, books of spells and so on that you will find on Amazon. This is real working formulae which have been practiced, proven, and then written down by adepts of the dark arts. It's the real deal. These are things which will work. So they're not cheap, and they shouldn't be cheap, and you shouldn't cheapen them. Even the oldest grimoires would tell you when you go to buy materials for your magic, never haggle, never bargain, because to do so is to devalue. And knowledge of this type, it's been deliberately set at a price which is not extortionate. In fact, when I think back to the early 1980s, when I first started buying occult books, and particularly those of this nature, the ratio between the prices of these books then and an ordinary paperback was far, far more removed than the ratio is today. Magic books are not ordinary books. And I think for far too long, we've fallen into the trap of being booksellers instead of teachers of true magic. This range has a specific purpose. For, when you become an initiate, you're burning with the desire to teach the things you've learned. But most people do not come into magic to learn how to be an initiate. It's not what they're looking for. And all too often we forget this. And it took me thinking back to when I was in my late teens and what I was looking for to really rediscover that fact. I wanted ways to take control of my life. I wanted ways to become self-sufficient. I wanted ways to bring me money, to bring me love and sex and all of these needs that human beings have. I wanted things to bring me the things that I had never yet been able to have and to obtain. This is what brings people into magic. Or at least this is what brings people who eventually become effective into magic, and it's not catered for in books of initiation. It's not catered for in mystic discussions about symbolism or how to train your mind to meditate, to visualize. It's not catered for in most books on magic. And yet when you look back, the grimoires, the Greco-Egyptian magical papyri, these were all books of results magic. So what are we saying, that those people weren't initiates? Of course they were. But it was the secrets of actually doing things and achieving things that they were writing down. And let me tell you, as somebody who's been there and has been through this journey, this is the kind of thing that will make you an adept, that will make you an effective initiate. Not by learning obscure symbols, but by realizing that you have cast a spell and it's worked. That you have something today that you did not have yesterday, but which you wanted. And the reason you have it now is because of magic. You realize you have become somebody who has the power to take control of your own life and to bring to you those things that you want and need. This realization, coupled with this power, is what will lead you to become an initiate, and a damn good one. But you have to start with the wants that you truly have. And that is what this series of books will cater to. And they're also great for advanced magicians. How many times do you think that, wouldn't it just be really aesthetically satisfying if you could pick up a book of spells, pick one out and say, yeah, I'm going to do this. And you know you can. You already know all the ins and outs of it. But there's still that glamour of being the magician, reaching for a spell, but doing something and bam, it happens. These books will also cater to that aesthetic feeling for advanced magicians. Now let's just think of that price point again. You're looking at about £25 or the equivalent in other currencies for one of these books. It's not a king's ransom, but they're not large books deliberately. The information in these has been so carefully edited, is so concise, is so well condensed and presented, and gives you everything you need to know without leaving anything out, that the page count is almost artificially compressed. But what you're getting for your money is worth far more than its weight in gold. But I'm going to tell you a secret, a very magical secret, and a magic that could open you up to whole new fields of initiation. If you join my Patreon, and I will put the link under this video, all of the members who join that Patreon at the $20 plus level will receive PDF copies of more than half of these grimoires as they become available. And so if you don't mind printing out your own copy, you can get them as part of your patronage. Not all of them, because they're all by different authors, and those authors who wish to provide free copies may do so, but it's not obligatory. But at least half of them you could obtain simply as part of your patronage. In addition to all of the monthly lectures, the group workings which go on within the Apophis Club, which have to be experienced to be believed. And if you think you're remote, we do them over Zoom, and it works well. If you don't believe me, ask anybody else in the club. They keep paying their patronage each month for a reason, you know. Access to all of the most up-to-date teachings in the Apophis Club, stuff that won't see print in books for months or years to come. And of course, at the $20 plus level, you get to see the draft chapters of the latest main range books being written as they're being written. People in the Apophis Club are already reading the next book, Rune Shifting and Tarot Transformations. They're already reading it. Other people won't get to see it for several months yet, maybe as long as a year. So the advantages of being a Patreon are enormous. Handmade talismans crafted by myself, going out in the post this week to everyone who took part in our last group working. A level of personal experience and teaching that you won't find in other ways. So bear that in mind too. By all means, buy the books. But there is another way of obtaining them, which will also expose you to so much more material. It's a constant source of astonishment to me why the magicians who like the Apophis Club courses don't join the Patreon, where they can really be involved in it and experiencing these things as they happen with personal tuition. But up to you. The books in the Draconian Grimoire series so far, this one was actually published years ago. It's a very popular little book, Grimoire of the Sevenfold Serpent. This is my original copy. It now has a new cover so that it looks the same as the others in the series. This was the first attempt to present a results magic oriented version of the Apophis Club curriculum. It's a structure of conjurations for the 7 heads of the dragon, which the whole Apophis curriculum is based around. This was written by myself. I have at times received criticism because of the sigils. People saying, what the hell are these? Where do they come from? Anyone who's read many of the Apophis Club books will immediately recognize these come from the Draconian alphabet, which was designed specifically for producing Draconian sigils and is explained in dragon scales and in greater depth in words of power. And sigils should always be hand drawn in the heat of the moment. If you're using a ruler and a protractor, you're taking your mind out of the place it needs to be in to make these truly effective. So that's the first book, a conjuration of the 7 heads of the dragon, which are then invoked, and they can be used for a whole manner of different magical purposes. For example, let's see, there's a whole list in here of what they do. The thunderbolt, the second head, to improve memory, to acquire knowledge, to achieve calmness and ease anxieties, to cause insanity in enemies, to recall past lives, for eloquence and skills of communication, to get a new job, to charm and influence others, to obtain a favourable judgment, to increase concentration. Any of those goals evoke the second head. Instructions within. The next book, written by M. Garada, 7 Spells for 7 Sins. This takes its theme from the Satanic Dragon, where we look at the traditional allocation of 7 demons to the 7 deadly sins, and the 7 deadly sins to the 7 heads, relating back to the Apophis curriculum again. This book evokes the demons of the 7 deadly sins, and of course each sin is something that people want. Who doesn't want money? Who doesn't want sex? Who doesn't covet the things which others have that they don't? Who doesn't feel angry about their enemies? Who doesn't want an easy life? All of these things are addressed in here. Power invocation of gluttony, addressing Beelzebub. Sloth, lust, greed. 7 invocations of the 7 deadly sins for obtaining anything you might desire. Anyone who's read The Satanic Dragon will understand the framework for that spell book. By our old friend Ori Whitehand, Tarot Magic for Fast Results. An incredibly full and intuitive way of using the tarot for a form of elementally based magic. Choose the Lesser Arcana number card, which relates to your desire, by going by a simple cross-reference of the suit and numerology. Choose the court card that represents the person or people to be affected by your desire. And choose the Major Arcana card, which expresses the manner in which you want that desire to manifest and to carry forward. It gives you the full instructions you need to work out new spells for yourself, and includes a whole series of ready-made examples that you can just take straight from the book. There's a spell for wealth there. A spell to gain a lover. A spell to overthrow an enemy. Spell for health and healing, for luck and good fortune, and so on. The next one, an area which the Apophis Club has not really looked into previously, and which I'm delighted we now have an incredibly able initiate who is taking the club curriculum into these grounds, finding how it meshes perfectly, and we'll be looking increasingly into this area as time goes on. But for now, we have From the World of Traditional Witchcraft, Powerful and Successful Witchcraft Spells by Liliana Fay. These are traditional witchcraft spells taught to her by her mother and grandmother. All straightforward, easy to do, but as the title says, powerful and successful. They have all been tried and tested. Everything in these books, contrary to many you will buy from other sources, everything is tried and tested. The fifth book in the series so far, and one which has been re-released just this week, again with a new cover. I published this on behalf of a woman called Mary Flynn a long while ago, 3 or 4 years ago now, with very little fanfare. It wasn't really promoted, and it sold a few copies but didn't do much. But as I say, it was never really promoted. Fairy Household Magic. Now, this might sound like a world away from the Apophis Club, but it isn't. The spirits of the underworld, the Celtic underworld, are always of crucial importance to me. I think when our Celtic interpretation of the Apophis curriculum finally appears, after being in preparation for so many years, it may well become the definitive version. But Mary's written this book is specifically about the magic of the home and of the things which define you. And we know how important being your own sovereign self is to a left-hand path magician. This is you in your sovereign place, your own home, learning to see the unseen, protecting your home and property. A whole series of spells there on how to protect the house, how to protect property, how to discourage unwanted visitors. There's so many different aspects. How to recover stolen property. Preserving your health and well-being is another chapter with lots of material in there for a long, healthy life. Attracting luck and prosperity. These were always features of the good neighbours. If you managed to get on their good side, there's some wonderful little invocations and practices in here. Direct petitions to the fairy folk if you want them to do something on your behalf. Visiting the other world. Righting wrongs. Wonderful book, and I am absolutely delighted to give it a new lease of life by including it in the Draconian Grimoire series, and I hope it does really well now. It absolutely deserves it. It too will have a new cover, same illustration, but in the format of the series. Now, there's something else I want to show you here to illustrate something I keep saying and why you should buy from Lulu rather than Amazon. I have to make the books available on Amazon to attract passing trade. This is an Amazon book, and look, it's perfectly adequate. The print is perfectly okay. It's a perfectly good book. This is a Lulu title. First thing, look at these pages. They are much thicker and heavier. They are coated, and it's printed with premium ink. It is so crisp and sharp and clear. The quality, the difference in quality is enormous. And they will be the same price whether on Lulu or Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, it generally doesn't apply to Amazon printed books. Funny that, isn't it? They'll make other manufacturers make deals so that their books can be provided with free postage, but they won't do it for their own when it's cutting into their bottom line. So the prices will be the same. Depending on where you are, there'll be slight differences because they each use their own different exchange rates. But they will be more or less equivalent. But the difference in quality is very large. All of the range of draconian grimoires on Lulu will be getting printed with the higher quality paper and the premium ink. So there we have it. That's the Draconian Grimoire series. Please do support them. I know if you put them to use, you will not be disappointed. Everyone has been tried and tested by people who know what they're doing. They work. If you don't mind PDF versions of most of them, and if you'd like access to all that other material, join the Patreon, and we'll be happy to welcome you. Join us in our group conversations. Join us in our coursework. There's been for a year now, there's been a course leading people through the runes and the Eigersalm curriculum, step by step, exploring things in a kind of accelerated learning, because everyone's doing it together, everyone's mucking in, and everybody's lifting everybody up. It really is a kind of accelerated initiation once you get in on the Patreon and working with the operative Apophis Club who are there. I don't think people realize sometimes what the Patreon actually is. It is a working operative order in every sense of the term. So there we are. That's the Draconian Grimoires. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. And please enjoy them. Put them to use. Get to see just what you can do. Catch you later.